A new report says the city needs to spend big money every year to properly maintain municipal assets. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The City of Thunder Bay is operating with a nearly $32 million annual infrastructure deficit.
That's the highlight of the Asset Management Plan, which is set to be discussed by City Council on Monday. Vasilio Spells is following this story. And Vasilio, what's the biggest contributor to the deficit?
Riley, it's actually transportation that accounts for nearly half of that shortfall. That includes things like roads, bridges, and sidewalks. Essentially, the deficit means the city needs to be spending $32 million more each year just to keep current infrastructure in proper condition. The cost of maintaining and replacing some of the city's most important assets.
Replacement costs have increased quite substantially over the last few years.
The second phase of Thunder Bay's asset management plan will be presented to City Council on Monday, outlining the condition of city assets and the costs associated. The report estimates a $32 million infrastructure deficit, meaning the city should be spending that much more annually just to keep infrastructure in its current condition. The largest contributor to the deficit is in transportation, which runs with an annual shortfall of $15 million. Transportation includes roads, sidewalks, and bridges. Project manager Amy Coombs talks about why maintaining this area is a challenge.
We have a lot of climate change considerations with our roads infrastructure as they, have stormwater going over them and things like that. So yes, we do have a very large infrastructure deficit for our roads, and that's typically what we see across the country.
Looking at city facilities, which comes with an estimated $6 million deficit. In that category is the police headquarters, which is rated in poor condition. Replacement for the HQ was recently estimated to cost north of $50 million. Fleet and machinery, including city-owned vehicles, is also operating at a nearly $3 million deficit. Coombs says the city does recognize the infrastructure gap and says the timing of the investments will be crucial moving forward.
Extend their life. So once an asset reaches a poor or very poor condition, there's not a whole lot we can do to bring that back up to that good condition. Whereas if it's in a good or fair condition, we can invest a little bit of money to really extend the life of that asset.
Wastewater and drinking water are the two categories of assets not operating in a deficit. If approved on Monday, staff will welcome public feedback on the asset management plan to fuel decisions moving forward. Vasilio Spellos, TBT News.
After a 30-year battle, Lac Seul First Nation is getting $234 million from the federal government in a historic flood claim settlement. The dispute dates back nearly a century. Construction began on the Ear Falls Dam and Generating Station in 1928, and it went into service in 1930. That resulted in the flooding of more than 11,000 acres of reserve lands. Lac Seul began litigation in the early 90s, claiming Ottawa breached its fiduciary duty by allowing the dam to be built without the community's consent or compensation. The Supreme Court sided with the First Nation in 2021, and the community voted 95% in favor of a settlement agreement in March. Chief Clifford Bull says even though it's taken so many years, the settlement will leave a legacy for future generations. He calls it a real step towards reconciliation with federal treaty partners.
A 34-year-old from Wabsamung First Nation has been charged with second-degree murder after a person was found dead at a home in that community yesterday afternoon. The accused, who hasn't been named, remains in police custody. OPP and Treaty 3 police continue to investigate in conjunction with the coroner's office and other agencies. Police say there's no ongoing threat to public safety in Wabsamung, which is located about 100 kilometers northwest of Kenora.
The Thunder Bay Police Service is introducing a new pilot project to improve the safety of people in custody.
It's a collaboration with Foresight Labs, a company that created special bracelets to monitor a detainee's heart rate and other vital signs. Joe Sadowski has more.
And it provides us with some biometric information that will help us ensure the wellness of the people that are in our custody.
This new military-grade bracelet will allow Thunder Bay Police to keep a much safer and accurate watch on the people in custody in the police lockup.
Well, I mean, one of the big things is that a lot of times we aren't even aware that somebody is in some kind of medical distress because people are sleeping or they appear to be sleeping. This tool will allow us to know that there's an issue with their heart rate, their body temperature. It will monitor if there's significant changes in their heart rate.
In 2022, there was a coroner's inquest into the deaths of two men who died while in custody for public intoxication. 44-year-old Don Mamakwa was taken from his holding cell to the hospital and died in 2014, while 50-year-old Ronald McKay died in 2017. Both men had existing health complications which contributed to their deaths. The inquest heard it took a long time for police to realize each man had become unconscious. Dampier was asked why it took police until now to implement this new project.
Because it's emerging technology. So we're, to our knowledge, the first in Canada to roll this out as a part of a pilot project. So we looked and saw it and thought, you know what, that was something that we wanted to be a part of to try to, improve our ability to secure the wellness of the people in our custody.
Dampier says this new program does not require the detainee to wear the bracelet, but every person who is taken in by police custody will be asked if they want to wear it. Thunder Bay Police are looking to roll out this new program by the end of May and told TBT News that they have one bracelet for each of their 20 holding cells. Joe Sadowski, TBT News.
One of the four men charged in the killing of Jordan Lapointe pleaded guilty to a lesser charge at the city courthouse today and was granted his release for time served. 46-year-old Ronald Hill from Thunder Bay was arrested in October of 2021 and charged with first-degree murder in the death of the 33-year-old Lapointe. The victim's body was found in a Frederica Street home after a fire and explosion at the residence. Hill appeared in court today to plead guilty to one count of forcible confinement. The court heard that Hill left the scene before Lapointe was killed, and the murder charge against him was dropped. He's been in prison for the past 2.5 years. The judge accepted a joint submission to release Hill on time served. Two other men have already been convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. The fourth suspect, 21-year-old Shane Cabral, will have his case heard later this month.
A 25-year-old Thunder Bay man is facing charges after a pickup truck collided with a utility pole and a Northside residence. The crash happened just after 9:30 last night. The initial collision caused the top half of the pole to snap off. The vehicle then continued up onto the homeowner's property and contacted the staircase, bending the handrails. Fortunately, the resident's vehicle and the surrounding properties were unscathed. Homeowner Lee Johnson notes he was watching the Maple Leafs Bruins game when it happened. He says the impact was so loud, his neighbors a street over heard the crash.
When Nylander scored, there was a lot of noise too. But just to be serious, no, it was around 9:30, and it was the biggest noise. I thought the bomb went off, frankly, and it was so loud, and it vibrated the ground so much that neighbor next, the street over from me, she texted me this morning, said she heard and felt it, and the neighbors all around felt the impact. He was going so fast.
The driver was arrested on scene and charged with impaired driving and refusing to take a breathalyzer test.
Thunder Bay OPP have charged one person with stunt driving after he was caught yesterday going nearly 100 kilometers per hour over the speed limit. According to OPP, officers on patrol spotted a vehicle traveling along Highway 1117 through Shunya doing 189 kilometers an hour in a 90K zone. A 22-year-old man from Winnipeg has been charged with stunt driving. He received an immediate 30-day license suspension and his vehicle was impounded for 14 days.
The results are in for two provincial by-elections held yesterday. PC candidates took both ridings. Progressive Conservative candidate Z. Hamid won the seat in Milton in what was a tight race against Liberal Nadeau Harris. The seat was left vacant by former Cabinet Minister Parm Gill, who joined the Federal Conservatives in February. And as expected, PC Steve Pinsonneau captured the Tory stronghold riding of Lambton-Kent Middlesex, which had been held by former Cabinet Minister Monty McNaughton since 2011.
Longtime Thunder Bay lawyer Justice Stephen Wojciechowski was officially sworn into his new role yesterday afternoon as a judge for the Superior Court of Justice of Ontario. He was actually appointed in January and has served on the bench for about 3 months, but the ceremony to take the oaths of office as a judge wasn't held until now. Wojciechowski was first called to the bar in 1990, starting as an associate lawyer with Bessette and Airyu. He spent most of his career as a defense litigator for insurance cases. For the past 25 years, he's also supported and run legal education programs. The new judge says he's proud and excited to take on this new role.
You can probably see it's a very emotional time. It's a very happy time for my family, and celebrating this occasion on their behalf. Really, that's why I'm here. So just so proud to be a part of this community, part of my family, and it was wonderful. This role is, it's a huge responsibility, which I recognize, and every day that I've been doing this job, it continues to get more challenging and more interesting and more exciting. So it's just been a great experience so far.
The Chamber of Commerce held its 30th annual Business Excellence Awards last night at the Wasaya Hangar.
The event celebrates Thunder Bay's business community, honoring 71 nominees in 12 award categories. Nev Van Pelt was there.
Close to 400 people in the business community came out to celebrate the winners at the Chamber of Commerce event. President Charla Robinson reflected on the past year and how special the Business Excellence Awards are.
It's been a challenging time with high inflation, labor shortages, so many challenges facing the business community, which is, I think, why tonight is even more special, because even in the face of all of those headwinds, these businesses are succeeding, and so it's a great night to really just celebrate what we have achieved and what they have achieved, even in very difficult times.
Starting with business excellence, Newmont Musselwhite Mine took home the award for the large business category. Jones Insurance won for the top medium-sized business, and Carol's Cakes earned the achievement in the small business category.
It's really my team. My team comes in every single day and they give it 110%. We know these are special moments for people, and they want special cakes and they want special products and they want it to taste good. And it's so great for my team to see the recognition and to see that people appreciate them and to know that they're doing such great work.
For individual awards, Business Person of the Year was awarded to President of iTech, Ray Jarvinen, whose company has become a major supplier of heavy equipment products and services in the region and beyond. Cash and Tai, owner of Boreal Tree Service, took home the Young Entrepreneur Award. St. Andrew's Dewdrop Inn won the Not-for-Profit Excellence Award, and Executive Director Michael Keebel was very honored to earn this achievement.
I'm incredibly proud. I'm proud of the Dewdrop Inn and the role in the community, of the staff, of the volunteers, of the community. Bursting with pride would be an understatement.
Other winners included Confederation College for the Clean, Green, and Beautiful Award, Salt and Pepper Catering for Customer Service, Waasigan Transmission Line and Hydro One Networks, Inc. for Game Changer, Thunder Bay Co-op Farm Supplies for the Looking Good Award, Final Drives Canada for New Business Excellence, and Impala Canada for the Quality of Life Award. Nev Van Pelt, TBT News.
Well, it's Friday, so that only means one thing. I'm already thinking about the weekend.
Yeah.
And Fiona, you had mentioned it earlier this week that it might be a little bit of a hit and miss weekend.
And it continues to be so. It's hard to believe considering how beautiful, sunny, and warm today was, but there is something heading our way. If we take a look at what's been moving through today, some rain to the west and to the southwest, we've got this system that's just itching to move in. And in fact, it's actually moving a little slower than originally anticipated. We expected it to be closer to Thunder Bay and be something that would be felt overnight tonight for the most part. We're probably going to have to wait a little bit. But today we had a low of 5, a high of 19. Yes, that's 19. Much needed with partly to mainly sunny skies. The winds, though, were also picking up quite a bit. Started out at about 15 kilometers per hour this morning, but this afternoon we had gusts up to 45 km in the city of Thunder Bay. Now, to the west, they had periods of rain in Red Lake and even a thunderstorm popping up here and there every once in a while, but winds were much calmer heading further south. Fort Frances also saw 50 km winds throughout the day. They're currently at 13, but it was a very mild night across the board. Greenstone saw some clearing throughout the day, but winds were at 60 kilometers per hour in the Greenstone and Armstrong regions. Along the North Shore, Nipigon's enjoying 16 at this hour, but then temperatures take a bit of a hit as you head into Marathon at 9, Wawa at 8. Sault Ste. Marie had rain to start, and they were clearing all this afternoon. Currently partly cloudy skies and enjoying 16 Celsius. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, it's going to be another very mild low, 7 Celsius, and just a 40% chance of showers as that system tries to work its way into the region. Winds will start pretty gusty from the west, up to 60 kilometers per hour for the first half of the evening and into the night, but then it'll start to taper off in the overnight hours. And as we head into the weekend, rain and once again cooler temperatures heading into Saturday. But Sunday looking sunny again, and it comes with warmer temperatures and just a really nice day once again. So we are going to see some sunshine. Again, we just have to wait a little bit.
Okay, well, we ended it on a positive note. As we've established, it's always good when we can end off the forecast on a positive note. Thanks a lot, Fiona. All right, let's turn our attention to national news now, and this finding wasn't entirely unexpected. A new report has found that there was foreign meddling in the last 2 Canadian elections. Now, it didn't affect who ultimately formed the government, but it did, or likely may have impacted 2 specific ridings. We'll have details on that and more when your Friday News Hour continues after the break.
Some of these acts have been established while others remain only suspected.
The interim report from the public inquiry into foreign interference has determined there was meddling in the past 2 federal elections.
It may have impacted results in 2 specific ridings, but not the overall outcome. CTV's Judy Trinh was there for the release and has more.
First, our electoral system is robust.
Justice Marie-Josée Hogue concluded that foreign actors, mainly China, meddled in the past 2 elections.
Some of these acts have been established while others remain only suspected, are a stain on our electoral process, and impacted the process leading up to the actual vote.
While Hogue said that Canada's electoral system remained robust, she cited 2 cases where there is significant intelligence that Beijing interfered. In the 2019 Liberal nomination of Han Dong, where international students were bussed in and threatened with losing their visas. And then in 2021, when Conservative candidate Kenny Chiu did not get re-elected after being smeared in Chinese media and WeChat.
This report is a damning set of conclusions and findings in the first phase of this inquiry about what the Trudeau government has indicated over the last 18 months and contradicts much of what the government has told us over that period of time.
In her report, Hogue raised concerns about how a panel of senior officials hesitated to warn the public and relied on media to correct disinformation. By the time the disinformation fades away, it may be too late. The damage to the democratic process may already be done, she said.
I have found no evidence of any actions taken in bad faith, but I have found that there were some communication problems.
So we have been at work to ensure that the intelligence sharing and information sharing process is improved and strengthened for many months now.
But after hearing from nearly 70 witnesses and 10 days of public testimony, observers say the commissioner's findings replicated much of what former Special Rapporteur David Johnston concluded a year earlier.
Commissioner Hogue's report is much less hard-hitting than David Johnston's report was. Now, maybe she will be able to do some more hard-hitting in the future.
Phase 2 of this public inquiry will resume in the fall when Justice Hogue hears from more diaspora groups as she delves deeper into finding solutions to foreign interference. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
Police in British Columbia have confirmed multiple arrests have been made in the killing of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The RCMP gave an update on those arrests, but revealed little about the evidence, saying that's to protect their investigation. CTV's Andrew Johnson has more.
It was an assassination that sent shockwaves through the Sikh community. Today, word of 3 arrests and first-degree murder charges.
Good first step, but there are a lot more questions that have been raised by these arrests than there are answers.
After evening prayers last June 18th, 45-year-old Hardeep Singh Nijjar was gunned down in the parking lot of a Surrey, BC Gurdwara by masked men.
Where is the law enforcement? Where is the all Canadian agencies? What they're doing?
Karen Preet Singh, Kamal Preet Singh, and Karen Brar are each facing 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder in Nijjar's death. Nijjar was a vocal supporter of the Khalistan movement, advocating for the creation of a separate state for Sikhs. For that, he was a wanted man in India, labeled a terrorist in 2020. In September, Nijjar's killing sparked a diplomatic crisis between Canada and India after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said this.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The Prime Minister's bombshell announcement confirmed what many in Surrey suspected from the beginning.
This is just step 1 in the family's eyes and the community that, we now have evidence that India is involved and there is foreign interference.
A call being echoed today to prove who directed the alleged hit squad charged in Nijjar's murder and bring them to justice.
We need to know who is directing them. And like I said, all signs are pointing towards the Indian Embassy and Consulate.
And that was Andrew Johnson reporting. Pro-Palestinian protests continue at a number of North American universities. Demonstrators at McGill say they're staying put in spite of comments from Quebec Premier François Legault calling on police to dismantle the encampment. The protest at the University of Toronto continues as well. CTV's Adrian Gobriel is there with the latest details.
It's day 2 of the encampment here at the University of Toronto. The rain has dampened some of the excitement here today, likely, but you can see the tents are still here, the people are still here. There's perhaps a dozen or so more tents on the grounds here today than there were yesterday. Now also, as you look out in the distance, you might notice that there's blue metal fencing all the way around what's known as King's College Circle. That's where this encampment is. Well, that was actually put up by the university, though those fences were breached yesterday at 4 in the morning by about 150 protesters. They're now using those fences to keep police out, to keep university staff out, as well as those who they say do not align with their beliefs here at this protest. Earlier, we spoke with one Jewish law student from U of T. He's also an alumni from Columbia University. He had this message for U of T, who initially had said that the protesters were to leave by last night.
I think just take swift action. If you're going to set a deadline, the first thing that you have to do is be prepared to act on that deadline.
And a reminder for our viewers, protesters here say that they won't be leaving until the University of Toronto divests its investments in companies that protesters claim are supporting arms companies who provide weapons to Israel, as well as other companies who support Israel. Now, we spoke with one faculty member here at U of T who is supporting this encampment.
I just want you to look around. When I look around, I see students engaging in a form of protest, but a form of protest that is legitimate, a form of protest that is peaceful. Their messaging has been anti-racist, it is intersectional, and it addresses the issue of discrimination on a global scale.
The University of Toronto declined a request for an on-camera interview today. We asked them if they have a new deadline for when they want this encampment to be cleared. They declined to answer, saying that they are concerned about reports of vandalism, racism, and hate speech on campus.
Well, that was CTV's Adrian Gobriel. So far, things have stayed peaceful in Canada, but that's not the case on American campuses, where more than 2,000 protesters have now been arrested.
Portland police, leave the building now! Force will be used against you!
Overnight, police moved in on protesters at Portland State who had taken over the library there. And in New York this morning, officers cleared out an encampment at NYU.
Donald Trump took another shot at the gag order imposed over his hush money trial as he entered court today.
We're filing, I think today, a constitutional motion to get this out. We'll be filing a lawsuit on the constitutionality of it. But if somebody says something...
Trump has been fined over violating a gag order meant to prevent him from attacking jurors or witnesses in his criminal trial. He also faces 4 additional allegations of violating the gag order. Yesterday, Trump falsely claimed he's not allowed to testify in his own defense. But today, the judge clarified that Trump does in fact have the right to testify if he chooses.
The makers of the diabetes drug Ozempic have made a new weight loss drug. It's called Wegovy, and it will be available to Canadians next week. CTV's Scott Hurst has those details.
As you mentioned, finally approved for Canadians, and it will be available on Monday. But as you mentioned, approved way back in 2021. But because of the increased demand for Ozempic, only available on the Canadian market now. Here's the clear distinction that medical professionals want to be put out there. The weekly injection is approved for weight loss for patients